All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks for being with us. Today is Tuesday, August 25th, 2026. Summer is beginning to wind down, but the activity, the market is still high. All right, NFA compliance rule 2-29C, subparagraph 1. Past performance not indicative of future results, and trade with money you can afford to depart with. All right. All right, just taking a look at the bigger picture once again. 240-minute 4-hour chart over here on the left. And what I've noted here is kind of a key zone. This was the transition zone between prior kind of resistance area here, and then this is the breakout. Okay, and then of course since then we've gotten a deeper pullback to a little bit above that area. So this area is kind of that. This is what we call value transition. Right, so what does that essentially mean? That means most of this activity, right, was down in this area. So this would be considered the lower, in this case, the lower value zone. And then this was the transition. This was essentially the breakout. So we're basically breaking out from the lower value, working on establishing, okay, higher value. Does that make sense? So this area kind of is pretty much deemed, kind of a value transition zone. Not a lot of trade that occurred there. So again, a transition. So now, since this is the area that we're really looking at above, so on the bigger scale, again, what we're trying to do, of course, is read, or essentially read and kind of follow what the larger, players are doing. Okay. Yeah, so value transition is like a big profile shift, right? Exactly. So the market spent, quite a fair amount of time. We're looking back in June through the end of July, so 2 months worth of activity down here, and then they decided, you know what, we want to push it higher. We want to see what's up there at these, if we push it at the higher level. So they're making that transition, right? So value. So now the critical areas now become this pullback area to, if we got deep into the 7640 region here, right now we're dipping down into what, 6065s, and we've seen that respond a couple times here, right? These lows, this low here, this low here. But as you can clearly see, for the bulls, that is, it's going to be an uphill battle, because the moving averages, this is on a 240-minute chart, right? Look how they're pointing. Again, bigger picture now, right? We can certainly be long on an intraday play, just looking at the bigger picture, what the what the elephants need to do in order to move things higher, right? So one of the scenarios would be continue to hold the lower end of this value zone that's being developed, and then of course move it eventually, move it higher, right, to reclaim or retest the upper part of that value zone. That does not mean it's going to happen. That would be one of the scenarios. Obviously, the failure to do that and to rotate back down into the lower value area, obviously would be concerning for the bullish case. But there is still plenty of activity from those lower regions that the market could simply, fall back into. Okay, so this is kind of what we'll, over the next, coming days, weeks, etc. We'll kind of keep an eye out on. All right, and just from the bigger picture, as we drill further down into where we typically live, right, on our trading, just kind of a little bit more detail, but the same, read applies. Okay, um, nothing really changes. There's your two tests around the 60, 65s. And now this is your upper area here, again, getting a little bit more granular here into the 77, 05s, 10s, 20s. One of our upside targets this morning, right, was the 77.05, so check mark there. So now the question becomes, right, so this is our world, right? So essentially this is the primary, sandbox currently. And of course, the expectation, at least for the moment, would be to, it rotated from the lower end of the sandbox up to the upper edge, right? And then we would anticipate maybe some backing and forth, And then what we want to keep an eye out on going forward over the next, several sessions is we outline this, right? So this is your high of the current sandbox, right? The low, and then we kind of, the midpoint. So if this is to develop in a bit more bullish structure, the question becomes, what would we want to see the market activity do? Okay, again, these are some of the questions that you want to ask. So if it is going to maintain or develop more bullish structure, then we would want to see the midpoint of our current range, high-low range, hold, not give way significantly, right? Again, it can move around that area, but we really want to see buyers continue to step up on any deep pullbacks, and that would be, roughly, give or take, right, 80s or so, plus or minus. So again, just kind of a loose zone area, but that's what we would want to see. You would really want to see a lot more activity above that area, not necessarily a quick breakout above these current highs, because what happens is if you get a big breakout above these current highs, that actually creates instability. The most stable kind of breakouts come after a good solid testing of an area. Now, whether or not these current lows satisfy that or not, and you and I and everybody else will find that out together. So we're just kind of laying out scenarios. Of course, for every bullish scenario that I lay out, naturally there's a bearish scenario, right? So I don't really go into both scenarios because it's just a redundancy, and then I have to reverse all my language. So, but you get the idea. So so the bears need to do X, the bulls need to do X or Y, and we just monitor what's happening, keep the bigger picture in mind. So over here on the far right, we can clearly see that all the EMAs, even from the 60-minute charts here, have kind of all come together, all right, in and around these 95s, up through the 7,700 area. And so we'll start the day off, just kind of outlining, pivot zones, carrying them forward. All right, so if we get a dip below, the 89 here, kind of looking for maybe a move back up, right, as a potential scenario. If we get a move, to begin the session. Again, we're going to be obviously looking for these highs to see if they can be sustained, right? Yeah, so this is a 5-minute, I believe this is a 5-minute 89. Okay, so over here on the left, Rom, right, that's an 89 on a 5-minute. So what I've done here is I've just, you know, put it over there. No problem. Good question. Again, we want to know where these numbers come from. All right, so that's the 89, 55, 34, all in the 5-minute. So obviously bigger time period, right? So I've just overlaid it over here. So these are just kind of, again, continue to be references, right? So if we look here on the 5, we got a dip below the 89 there, right? We got a reclaim. Same idea. We're just pulling it over from a bigger time period. I think that's about it for the time being. It is a cycle day 1. Let's just quickly go over to the cycle chart for a moment, what I want to outline here. So, of course, yesterday the decline began, okay, from the cycle day 3 high. And this particular zone down here is 76.62 is the average decline projection from the cycle day 3 high. And so coming into today, the market did not really close on the lows. It closed somewhat kind of in the midst here. So it really didn't close heavily on the lows. So there really was, as you can see, during the overnight, there was really no selling pressure. So given the fact that the market did indeed fulfill an average decline projection from the cycle day 3 high, okay, the market decided that it wants to rally. Okay, also market is at the low end of the 5-day multi-composite profile, MCP, multi-composite profile. All right, so that's our kind of world here, our immediate world over the past 5 days. These are your value areas, etc. As you can see here during the overnight, all right, D level was tagged, got a response. Price is now pulling back here into this area. And now we have all the numbers that we kind of need to start the session. All right, the core outline. All right, let's see what today brings. Let's have a good day. Just as an announcement today, Niels and Danny are actually having a workshop in the pit room at the noontime break. So if you want to stick around, be sure to, Niels is going to be talking about his Delta Trader or Trader R program, and Danny is going to be discussing some topic related to the prop trading stuff. So tune in on that around noontime. In terms of selecting EMAs or it's really your choice. I tend to use, the fib EMAs, fib number sequence. It's kind of an easy, standardized kind of way of doing things. But your choice. I don't think there's as I've always said, there's not really a right or wrong. It's just what works for you, what you find. Again, back testing could actually find that, hey, I get a better response from the 24 EMA versus 21. Also, you're kind of not in one respect, you're not in the crowd. So if the crowd is using 21, you're a little bit outside the crowd. If you like that and you're getting responses from it, yeah, I say do it. You know, what's so interesting about trading is we want all this freedom, but yet we actually are, dare I say, jailed by our own, you know, we're trying to actually create, we want freedom, but we want to create guardrails. We want to create guidelines, you know. So, yeah, kind of a different way of thinking about it, John, right? So if everybody's using 21, say, maybe I'll use 24. I've thought of that many, many times. Why be with, directly with the crowd? Be a little outside the crowd. So, all right. Somewhat of a neutral start, I would say. Prior opening here yesterday was about 93s, so we're very similar to the opening from yesterday. So, um, obviously the close down at 74s, which is our line in sand area, 75s. But for the most part, we've just been kind of sloshing back and forth like baby in a bathtub, as they say. Just kind of sloshing back and forth these areas. All right, let me 1 second. Yeah, or as to your question on the email, I do not think it's. I'd have to have it reprogrammed or something. I think to what you're looking to do on that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Best I could do generically. All right. So take a look at our 5 minute opening range over here. Oops. Wrong chart. So although this is a 1 minute chart, it is the 5 minute opening range. It just adds a little bit more detail, right? So 5 minute opening range here up at 7,701 and then 93. So basically roughly just call it about a 10 handle range. So again, what would need to happen, right? So you start asking yourself once again, right? What would need to happen for the bullish case, right? Clear above 7700s, hold and convert for a push higher, vice versa, right? Again, the same process every day. And that's the beauty of it, right? We're maintaining the same OODA loop decision model. So we're stable in our decision making. The market may be volatile and crazy and doing whatever it's going to do, but we don't get sucked into that. We just stay stable ourselves and saying, okay, if the market does this, this is what I'm going to be looking for. If it does that, I'll be looking for something else. All right. Oh, so just a programming note for everybody. I am planning my escape sometime next week for a number of days, probably Wednesday on. So if anybody is interested in, and again, the charts may not be up depending on what my schedule is on my Great Escape from the screens. So if anybody's interested in broadcasting their charts, I'm sorry if you're in withdrawal. Uh, but if anybody is interested in broadcasting their charts, all right, we can certainly arrange that. Again, no obligation naturally, but again, this is your community. So if I'm here where I can have the charts up and running, I will. Right, but if I happen to be away for the actual period, then I don't leave anything really running in the house. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. That way, again, we can keep things running smoothly for everybody. But escape while you're able, and vote with your feet. Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Oris. Yeah, no worries. Again, just throwing it out there. Like I said, if I'm able to from here in the morning, but I'm not going to be active on the screens, I'll put the charts up and leave them there. So as long as I can attend to them. But if I'm away that particular day overnight, then we won't have charts. I will. We still should have the daily trade strategy published. I can kind of do that from remotely if I need to. So think about it, everyone. I don't know if it's going to be starting Wednesday or maybe even Tuesday of next week. I got to consult with the boss lady. And that way, that kind of rolls into the Labor Day weekend, which is a long weekend, anyways, and then we all come back refreshed. Yeah, just disconnect. Okay. Oh, I can disconnect. It's just I want to make sure if the room is running for everybody. With if somebody wants to just broadcast their charts, maybe somebody can even just get on board and have a conversation with the group. You know, I know it's scary. It can be scary. Performance anxiety. Oh, totally disconnect in terms of even daily trade strategy. Yeah, that's not too difficult for me to do. That's the hazard when you're running your own business, your chief cook and bottle washer. What it will do is get uh, it'll relax my eyes, right? My eyes, you know, uh, they get tired watching the screens. I don't know about anybody else, but I know mine tired watching the screens. Public speaking is the great fear of adults. Yeah, I don't think I have a fear of public speaking. Uh, I don't know. Maybe if I was up on stage, alone, I'm not sure about that. But certainly, doing what I'm doing here, it's not a problem. I think the big thing about any time about public speaking is people want to they want to impress. They want to make sure they get it done right, and so they kind of create they almost kind of create a persona that it's not them. You got to just be yourself. If you like kind of joking around a little bit, joke around. Just be yourself. Put yourself at ease. The thing is, the audience will respond to whatever you're doing. If you're tense, guess what's happening to the audience? They're tense as well. If you're relaxed and joking, right? Whether or not your jokes go over, like Rodney Dangerfield, hey, I get no respect. Well, that was even funny in and of itself, right? But the thing about it is with Rodney Dangerfield, right? He said that stuff because that put himself at ease, right? Oh yeah, Steve. I give Steve tons and tons of credit. Right? I have never performed on my guitar in front of a legitimate audience. People walking by on the street, kind of give me you know, the light up and the thumbs up when I'm sitting on my porch. But with my acoustics, so which is not super loud. Uh, but no, I haven't done any recitals. So I give Steve a lot of credit there. But in terms of making a mistake, I'm going to tell you, most everybody that's listening won't even know you made a mistake. If you miss a strum, if you miss a chord, just keep strumming. You know, if it's a strumming song, you know, if you miss a note, you know, because like if you're picking notes and you miss a note, just keep picking your notes. Don't stop. It's when you stop, then they recognize it. Don't stop. You miss a chord, just go to the next one. You know, that's what my guitar teachers have always told me. Keep just keep strumming. They won't even know. Yeah. Da 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 da. Wish you were here. Yeah, that one takes a little bit more precision. Great song. Great song. But you know, just keep pushing through it. And you know what you say to them? Here's what you say. Here's what you think. I'm up here, not them. I get the balls to do this, not them. All right? How many of them would have the cojones to do what you're doing up there? So if you miss a note, F them. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, they won't, you know, the hard part is if you stop, you know, but if you stop temporarily, you know, it's funny because here's the thing. When you, in a song, sometimes actually pausing, i.e., thinking you made a mistake and you stopped, but actually pausing, you can actually create it like part of the song, part of the rhythm of the song. Oh, yeah, I intended to do that. That's what you have to kind of think about, right? I intended to do that. It's part of the song. You know? It's part of my take on the song, my embellishment. See, even as in trading, where I speak of reframing language, terms, phrases that you may use, reframing them, do the exact same thing, Steve. Just reframe it. Hey, it's my embellishment. You don't like it? Tough shit. I'm up here, not you. You know? All right. So that being said, we're still kind of hanging out here, 90s, 92, 95s, holding nicely. As you can see, you know, EMAs are totally flat. All right. So basically just kind of sideways, uh, you know, neutral trade here to begin after the move overnight. So market's just absorbing that move up here at the 7,700 area, 95s. Keep in mind, 95s the other day was our line in the sand, and we pushed down from the 95s. So we're really just back to, you know, kind of neutral land from just a higher level. And it's what I've noticed is the market has made moves, and then it just balances out. And again, we're in this last week of August. Don't make too much of it. Pick away, but really don't make too much of it. There are many portfolio managers are out this week. I believe it's at noon, Dr. Dean, with Niels and Danny with an I. We have a new Danny coming in as a member. I don't know if Danny's in here yet. Danny Baker. He'll be joining us. I'm not sure if he's there quite yet. Actually, let me give him a call because he was having difficulty trying to get into the room. So give me a few minutes and I'll come back. Hey, Danny, good morning. David DeBay here. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, what? Yeah, I sent you a link. I was just wondering whether or not you were able to access it. Oh, okay. Okay, sounds good. Thank you. You got it. Okay, bye-bye. All right, Danny's going to try to get back into the room here shortly. So I just spoke with him. New member, but he's not in here yet. So save your hellos for when he gets in. Okay, vote for Danny to replace me. Okay. Yeah, it's just more to get away from the screens, give my eyes a break, and that type of thing. That's all. I think as we go into the fall, things will start heating up, with the midterms coming up and everything else. This is also a very good time of the season to hone up on, some of the educational access that we have. And again, I'll mention it again about staying, selecting something within the methodology and really zoning in and focusing on it for a period of time, however long that period of time is. I don't want to say, just a week or two. Take whatever time you need, but really focus in on something that you're interested in. You cannot focus on everything. So focus on something and then, really doing the deep dive, digging into it and saying, okay, I'm going to really focus on this today. Not only today, but this is what I'm going to be focusing on. Okay. Even if it's just, not even necessarily a trade. I know everybody wants to put a trade on so they can, having some winning trades, etc. But it's really before you even get to that stage, if you're having trouble putting anything on, kind of zone in on something, and even if it's just identification, premium, a discount, the CCI pushing up to a premium, what's the lean, kind of maybe layer a couple things in, things like that. Hey, what's the lean? Neutral. but they're not getting above the ATR4. That was a premium here. So just as an example, right? You know, this push up here, premium, right? You saw a premium here. This pushed up here, right? You had a premium here, all right, up at these edges, ATR, A4, okay? So even something like that, just being able to identify it, right? Making that connection. Something is, you know, again, as simple as that. And that's what you want to do. You want to make it simple, because if it's too complex, your brain is not going to accept it. I will guarantee you that. Your brain is not going to accept it. So the simpler, more specific you can make something, your brain will connect with it. And then you'll get to the point where the more you can recognize it in real time, and that's going to require you, by the way, I know everybody looks at the charts, looks at the bars, but you really have to also train your eyes, right? You got to train your eyes to look at the chart down here, the oscillator. So we have signals on our charts, you really start kind of glancing down, glancing down. Oh, that's Danny. I will be back, folks. Hey, Danny. Alrighty. Um, does it require a password? Okay, no. So you don't. Yeah, no, you don't need to. All right, let me take a look at something here. One second. Let me just try to. This is a new link, actually. My administrator um, is giving us. So let's see what happens. Email my trial invite. Let me just. I'm gonna walk through it myself here for a moment. Let's see. I'm gonna put start trial through email invite. Okay, so email my trial invite. Let me do that. Check your email. Okay, hold on a sec. I want to see what the steps. Okay, so 14-day trial. Okay, welcome. Okay, activate your PTG trial. Okay, did you? Okay, hold on a second. Activate your PTG trial. All right, because I already have an account. All right, so in your email, so the email, the link that I just sent you in the email, okay, where it just says PTG trial, put in your email address. Okay, you've gone through that process, and you clicked on email my trial invite. Did you do? Oh, okay. Um, no checkout payment is required. Okay. All right, let's do this. If you don't mind, I'm going to have you contact my admin, my administrator on this, because I don't really have access to force you into the room. So hold on just a second. Sorry about that. His name's Marlon. All right, and Marlon Cobb, C-O-B-B, Marlon. So his number, 1 second. See message history. 1 second. Okay, his number is 617 803 803 4776 4776. Okay, just he has the East Coast here. He's up, actually lives. He's up in Maine. Okay, so Marlin, yeah. Okay, so just tell him who you are. You're part of our, again, he actually he sent me these new links for you to access. But if obviously something is not connecting properly, he'll get you squared away because he's the admin on everything here. Uh, All right. Yeah, no problem. Sorry about any of the any of the delay, but we'll get you in. Okay, you got it. Let me know. All right, bye. All right, guys, back again. Still working on trying to get Danny here into the room. In the meantime, we do have this A4 that is played out so far. And the next trade would be a potential long here off of the A10 coming up on deck. So potential for that roughly around 84s. So we'll see if the market gives us any type of response from this A4, excuse me, A10. Or are they going to skunk us? We'll see. All right, the buyers were able to get to move the price up, but during the overnight. But it's really always during the RTH session that is really what matters. All right, so on this A4, all that's happening now is we get 3 targets, prices at break even. So now it's just onto a trailer here. And again, these work if the market really takes a nice move trend-wise, develops into a nice trend. You'll have a trailer that will just kind of go along. It should really never cost you. So that's kind of that final contract. As much as you want to say, I want to take that profit, Part of that is just letting it run and willing to give some of it back. So again, kind of part of the design. The real core of it is the 3 contracts. Just to get those 3 targets. Those are the most frequent contracts or price points in the series. So we want to get those. But then when you get a runner, we would just want to kind of hold on. We know the flip out is when it'll be, punched out. So, all right, let's see what this 810 gives us anything here. Going to give us any love, or is it going to give us agita? This is the area that I mentioned about if we had a pullback. So 80, 85 zone, about that midway. So this is kind of where we are, where price is. Doesn't mean it's going to hold. But if it's going to, then the bulls need to respond. don't have a tag yet. Look at this, just missing it again here on the, I mean, literally 2 ticks. Give me some good volatility rotation. They're expecting a 35-point range. Okay, that's pretty dismal. Pretty dismal. Well, well, well. Turn on. All right, we triggered in on the A10. Triggered in on the A10. Let's see if this will produce for us. At least it's not smashing through it. Time zone 2. Yeah. Come on, Seabiscuit. Jeepers creepers. Dare I say my kingdom for a tick. Again, get a grin and bear it. Time of the year, time of the week. All right, Danny, let me know if you're in here. Oh, Danny with an I is here. Okay, good morning, Danny. We have a new Danny coming in. Danny. It'll be interesting to see what his short name will be. And there it is, Danny B. Danny Baker's in the room. There you go. Guys, give Danny a shout out. Welcome, new to the PTG membership. First day today. All right. Welcome, Mr. Danny Baker. All right. Yep, we're excited to have Danny as part of our growing community, a pleasant community, a fun community. All right. All right, well, long of the A10 here. All right, I'm going to bring the stop up to break even on here. All right. It's been skunking us a lot lately, so I'm not going to leave that one out that long. So stopped at break even on A10. Was still short of A4, but that's managing itself. Okay. Yes, premium turbo. Yes, there's that. Right. Yeah, this volatility or lack thereof is oh good. Those sleeves? How do you want me to do them? Like how? Like, is that wide enough? You know, gotta be symmetrical. Right. Careful out there, fucking jungle. I may walk today. Like, what? What's the deal? Yeah, all right. All right, so we broke even here, guys, on the A10. That's why I put that up there. As I'm not going to get skunked on that A10. All right, so we got a bounce. We only got a bounce. And here's the reason why I did this, by the way. Okay, so to give you some insight. So we took this long, right? And I think the first target was a little bit higher than where it topped out at. But because of the A4 here, okay, which is in a negative uh, configuration, right? The bounce up to the A4 and then it stalled. Everybody clearly sees that, right? So the target was, I think it was the first target was a slightly higher than that. I think it was at 89s, right, or a little bit above 89. Anyways, I decided to bring stop loss, right, to break even. So again, remember when you're trading any of these, you are responsible for managing it. Yes, you know, if it's not working or if it bounces and it didn't really quite reach your first take profit, okay, so I elected to bring it to break even. I said, all right, we're not getting really much of a bounce there. And if the bounce continued, all right, and hit the target, terrific. But it already bounced approximately 5 points, and if my target's at 6 or 6.5, again, we're getting close, right? But no cigar, as the saying goes. So I'm bringing my stop up to break even. All right. So again, you have to actively manage all your positions. Don't, you know, and again, you have to have some sort of reason to say, okay, I'm going to move it up. Well, we got a bounce, but it's not carrying. Okay, I'm bringing it up to break even. You don't necessarily want to bring it up too fast, too soon, but it has to be a clear, we're getting a movement, but not getting enough of a movement. And you can see it kind of started stalling out. And of course, we have our downtrending EMA 89 there. So again, there's some headwinds. So that would be, a good decision, good trade decision. All right. Now on the A4, the runner now has moved, auto moved lower. So we get a tighter stop now in place. All right. On the A4. Everybody understand the rationale on that? All right. Sure you do. You what? Okay. All right. So just trailing off the A4 and not much else to do at the moment. Directions down. And the initial balance will be coming into play. First hourly high-low will be in place here in a moment. There it is, first hourly high-low. So let's see if there's some sort of a reaction from this. A lot of times we get the first hourly high-low in place, and then it again establishes kind of some sort of an initial range. Boom. All right, look at that. Got a quick big stop loss run, it looks like. Woo-wee. All right, that filled us on the on that A4 short. Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. That's the idea of keep having these runners, right? That is the idea, guys, of why I want it. Again, you need to have a runner. This runner here, this will pay for, a number of future stop outs that we'll get, and we will get them. But a runner like that will help, cushion either past stop outs or future stop outs. All right. Now that was a case where the market actually helped us. I guess that was a Truth Social post. All mines have been removed all mines have been removed and or detonated. What's so strange about that is actually the initial move was down, like that was negative. Of course, it's reacted since. Well, yeah, I'm sure there was stops there, of course, but that was the looks like that was the reason for the move. All right, the Truth Social, the Trump bomb, the tweet bomb. All right, so basically the market's gone right back through the entire range from yesterday, down back to the 60s, and then right back up 63 on the lows. All right, so just again, the whole range has been given back. I'm sure there's a few hurting pups on that one. All right, so now the market has to kind of repair itself a little bit. All right. All right, right back up to EMA zone. All right, so give the market some time now to kind of resettle in after that announcement. Give it some time to build some new structure. Of course, momentum, direction, given the EMA structure, still favors bouncing, selling on bounces.
And right back to our line in the sand, 76.75. Little winner on this quick A4. Tight winner on that. Stops a break even on that. All right, a couple more scales. So stops now break even. All right, after a couple more scales on the A4, and we're in good shape there.
All right, so the balance of the A4 stopped out at even. So we don't have anything left on the board at the moment. And we're right back to today's line in the sand. Now we'll just have to wait for structure to kind of rebuild here. At this point, let's reframe it out. So for the bullish case to the upside, all right, again, 85s, right, let's call it 85s, right, need to, right, CNC, clear and convert, back to the upside. Bears have current ball control. Right, for the time being. And let me know if you guys have any questions, comments. That's about it at the moment. Oh, I think the webinar starts at Danny and Neil's starts at 11 a.m. It looks like it's going to start at 11 a.m. So check that on your schedule. Dr. Dean, you were asking earlier. Yeah. So Niels and Danny with an I at 11 a.m. in the pit room. So we'll tune in to the pit room at 11. I'll turn my mic off here at 11. We'll cut the stream also at 11.
Yes. Oris, are you still using the Delta Trader?